our audience could see us, and I'm going to refresh to check if we are connected. Check it one more time. Perfect. Yes, I believe we are connected, and I'm going to start our countdown video so the audience know that we are ready.
Excellent.
GM everyone, this is really a GM because it's 7 a.m. over here in East Coast America. This is Moonlight from Ultiverse, your host at our Ultiverse show, and also the head of community and business development at Ultiverse over here. Today, we're very happy to have colleagues over here joining us. Wow, I see that we got a lot of audience already. Let me starting from doing what? Let me tell you, I'm actually going to start to drop crypto boxes to our live audience who are watching us on Binance Live. So friends, be sure to join us over here. And then let's give a warm welcome to colleagues over here. Hello, would you like to introduce yourself and also tell us a bit about Metaverse merchants with us? Thank you.
Yeah, sure thing. Well, it is a GN over here rather than a GM. It's just gone past 10 p.m. So I'll stay with the GN and let you have the GM, and I'll enjoy that in a few hours' time.
Amazing.
Yeah. Look, Metaverse merchants, looking forward to chatting you through the whole project, but at a very top level. Essentially, it's providing people with their own virtual distillery in the sense that we've created some technology that leverages NFT utility, and it allows you to compose those different traits within your NFT to blend and or produce or bottle your own whiskey. And it then produces child NFTs that tokenize your real world asset, your actual bottle. So yeah, would love to dive into that with you all.
Interesting whiskey. Wow. And that sounds, feels like it's time to get ready for some party, right? Or some gathering with good friends and family members. So what encouraged the team behind the scenes to build this project? What's the vision of Metaverse merchants? Thank you.
Oh, look, it's actually really interesting. The project, well, the backstory doesn't start from a vision with an NFT project. In fact, unfortunately, a little over a year ago now, I lost my mother, and we had some funds that I had to invest from that estate for my daughters. And I was looking for somewhere that I could put that funds, hopefully get a good return, and to move it from place to place or reinvest it every 5 years, and came across whiskey investment and cask investment. Did an enormous amount of background there and found a really good group with this company called Whiskey and Wealth. And basically at the end of that sale, it was definitely a sale, the sales rep sort of relaxed a little bit and sort of said, oh, what do you do for a living? And I explained that I was working for, CMO at the time for CoinStash, which is one of the cryptocurrency exchanges here in Australia. And he got interested, mentioned that, his boss was into NFTs and they were wanting to do something with the company. And that was the beginning. We ended that conversation with, I put him in touch and I'm happy to have a chat, and actually didn't really expect a call, but the call happened. And then we spent a couple of months back and forth trying to understand what a project could look like together. And eventually that actually sort of died down a little bit in the sense that it wasn't quite the right fit for what they wanted to do, but it stayed with me and sparked up the conversation again and took a different angle. And they were very happy to, support something that wasn't necessarily a promotional push, and the concept was, let's create a community that could work on 3 different fronts. One, if you really enjoy your whiskey and you're trying to acquire the best possible whiskey that you can possibly taste, this is a way that enables you to do that without outlaying thousands upon thousands to taste premium whiskey. 2, if you're a whiskey collector and you're just looking for the most rare bottle, because we are working with this group and we have liquid from the Craft Irish Whiskey Co. It is arguably the world's most sought after new make spirit in the moment. We can touch on that further later. It's not an exaggeration at the slightest. And 3, if you're just if you're an NFT trader and you're looking for an NFT that's going to hold its value, that it's got some incredible real world assets behind it, that ensures that it's pegged and it doesn't just drop away, even if the project itself is well, it's certainly not just a PvP. Let's put it that way.
Wow, that is certainly an amazing journey, right? And sorry about the loss of your mother. I actually have a similar background. Like, I also lost my mother, and then that also motivated me to want to recreate her image. And so that's why and also her voice, right? So because my little baby sister, she has like almost no memories of her. So that actually keep encouraging me to wanted to discover more about Metaverse, which is actually part of the name, right, of your project, right? Metaverse Merchants. And I also wanted to learn more about like VR technology, VR tool, and also voice AI, right, and image AI. So perhaps one day we could recreate her completely in the metaverse. So that is currently my goal. And I also totally agree with you that in order to find something that is more sustainable, right, and instead of moving the funds like every 5 years and wanting to find some long-term investment, this is really important. So do you mind to tell us why choose whiskey? Is this a very popular investment assets in Australia, or because at least for a lot of our audience over here, right, we're from Web3, and we might also think about, hey, why not something else like gold or some other stocks, or so since we're also talking about RWA, right, do you mind to compare RWA real world assets with other investment, like simply just investing a whiskey shop or a whiskey store or whiskey factory? What's the difference between that?
Well, that is a big question to unpack. I think we might need to pare that down in the sense that, so what is that real world asset?
Mm-hmm.
The best thing about tokenization is that you could almost tokenize anything. You could tokenize your car. You could tokenize that bar of gold that you mentioned. You could even tokenize the whiskey shop if you're looking at from a real estate perspective. Real estate is meant to, or it's tagged as being one of the most or largest sector, perhaps, that's expected to grow over the next period with RWAs, because there's just an enormous amount of outdated documentation that comes with real estate when you're trying to purchase or sell or buy, and trying to get through all the amounts of different documentation through all the different bodies that are involved. Having something like that on the blockchain and provable is, I think, understood by the majority of the smart money people in the world as being the next logical step to enable really quick and fast property trades with confidence.
Mm-hmm.
So, look, that's a massive sector in itself. But coming back to your point around why whiskey specifically for us, again, it wasn't necessarily planned, but when the conversation started, there just seemed like so many synergies, in the sense that if you look at the rare whiskey market, it's all about rarity and finding bottles that don't have too many copies. That they're unique in many different ways, and there was just so many synergies between that rare whiskey market and NFTs as collectibles, that it just seemed like a little bit of a match made in heaven, to be honest. And again, if you look at some of the more recent world records in terms of whiskey trades, it's come back a little bit to art, in the sense that the Macallan whiskey that held the world record briefly there between sort of like November and January this last year for $2.7 million. One of the key things that made that bottle most valuable was the art that was produced for that label. It was done by an artist that was a limited run. So there it's a blend between not just having really high-end quality whiskey, but having something really unique that was placed on the bottle to give it an even slightly different edge or element to the whole scenario.
That is just marvelous. Thank you so much, Collins, for sharing information with us. And yeah, I see that so far we have close to 440 live audience over here. And friends, feel free to pose any questions that you would like to share with us. And also we will pick your questions and then ask Mr. Collins over here today. And so, Grant, I actually started to study some information about RWA last year. I remember in March, CDGPS, there is a study called Money, Tokens, and Games. They dedicate a whole research paper to talk about RWA, and that is really just amazing, kind of like a trend, right? And especially talking about RWA and real estates, right? So certainly, or RWA with like concert tickets, things like that. So certainly, combining the term real world assets with whiskey is very interesting. And what challenges have you ever faced? Because obvious, you are at the frontier, right, of RWA, right? Because this is still something quite new. How would you find your buyers, and how would you convey people that this is something that worth to invest in? Thank you.
Yeah, look, I think the challenge is there, the understanding that comes behind what people are dealing with. So, in part, people are familiar with investing in NFTs and particularly PFP projects, and they understand that finding the right one of those can have intrinsic value going forward. So trying to, I guess, have them broaden the perspective from like it just being about art to the fact that it could be pegged to something in the real world is one step. The second step is actually saying, okay, well, now it's pegged to this car in the real world. If my NFT is this car, then my NFT is the same value of this car. So there's a limiting belief that might come with that. And I'd say, yes, we are definitely at the forefront, but maybe not in the way that we've been introduced here, in the sense that tokenized whiskey isn't actually so new. It's been around for a couple of years now. And there's a really interesting site, if you haven't seen it, called Blockbar. If you take a look at blockbar.com, they have some incredible whiskies that are tokenized on that blockchain marketplace. And you can come and purchase that digital twin, the NFT, and hold that bottle of whiskey, just like you'd be able to hold a Pokemon card that's been translated and put in a vault as your digital equivalent that you can show everybody. So that's already popular, and that's making quite a bit of money. What we've done is taken that a step further, and what we've tokenized with this project is actually something a little bit more intangible, in the sense that, yes, the output from a Metaverse merchant is your own whiskey. So you're yielding from the Metaverse merchant your bottles of whiskey, which you could then put onto something like Blockbar and either hold for yourself or auction away. But with Metaverse Merchants, the unique element of this project is that we've tokenized the maturation process itself. So this is part of creating and crafting whiskey. So until now, as far as we're aware, until now, the only people that had the decision-making ability on how a whiskey would be created would be the distillers, the producers, the master blenders in the world that are working in the distilleries and working in the storehouses and blending casks of whiskey together to produce their final product. And then that is retailed to everybody, whether they're drinking it, collecting it, or trading it. With this project, the holders themselves will be able to influence how their whiskey is treated, how it's matured. Every single crafting decision made between when they take ownership of their allocation of virtual whiskey to when it's released as a bottle is all controlled from within the NFT itself. So when you're in our marketplace, essentially, you're interacting with your own digital traits. You can craft your own recipe just by selecting combinations of these digital traits and produce something that will be even rarer than a single batch of whiskey that's sought after as collectors come, because every choice will be individualized, and then that's the exciting part.
Wow, this is definitely just amazing. Yeah, because certainly people are interested in new things, right? Learn new things, and also, learning about the potential, of some benefits that they could get from these. And so, how do you plan to distribute your product from Metaverse merchants? And do you have some white spots for people who are interested to claim it, or do you plan to just launch your collections on different marketplaces, or do you have your own marketplace that people could just simply get it without any white spots?
Yes. So, sorry, for 1 second there, I thought you meant about distributing the whiskey bottles themselves, and I was almost about to say, look, that's easy. That's shipping like you would with any sort of e-commerce store. But yes, no, we do have our own marketplace. In fact, I know you mentioned earlier that if I wanted to do a quick screen share, I'd be welcome to. So look, I'll throw have that open right now, actually. So look, this is a marketplace. It is live, but technically not released, if that makes sense. So a couple of weeks ago now, we wanted to do a real world whiskey tasting and just show people the quality of whiskey that we have, prove that we're real, prove that we've got everything else. And we ran a VIP event, and we minted just a very small number of 100 of these Metaverse merchants. This is all holding up at the moment, by the way. As I said, it's not quite released. We have our public mint on the 12th of March, and the artwork will be revealed then. If you wanted a little bit of alpha, actually, we just posted about this time yesterday some art on X. This is the first sneak peek of what the Metaverse merchants will look like. There's 122 layers of art in here. Everything from your traditional PHP background. We've done something quite unique with those in the sense that we have 20,000 liters of this premium new make spirit, and we're putting that into 4 very unique cask types. So we have created, in terms of lore for the project, 4 clans that represent these cask types. For those whiskey drinkers out there, they'll probably already know that casks are one of the biggest contributing factors to taste profiles. So we'll have roughly a quarter of this premium new make spirit into each of the casks, from bourbon barrels to PX sherry butts to port barracks. It's all there, and the users will then be able to either blend from those cask types or bottle straight as a cask strength. where I was going with that is that each background is linked to those casks. So there's 4 key backgrounds and a few variations of each of those keys. We have 8 different character types. And if you are able to see the mouse moving around on screen here, it is this cask at the front here, which probably separates the project from the majority available in the NFT space at the moment, in the sense that each one of these elements in the cask represents a capability, if you would think of it as a skill set of blending whiskey. And these are all tradable, they're all dynamic, they're linked to some are revolving traits based on timelines that are pre-built and automated within the smart contract. With these, you can trade within your community to gain additional capabilities, to gain additional allocations of whiskey, to trade. Perhaps you have ended up with a few liters of bourbon and, well, bourbon barreled whiskey, and you'd prefer to swap that whiskey with something that was maturing in a port cask, and you're quite able to do that. You're welcome to undertake that right here on the trade marketplace. Once we set the project live, there'll be a lot more features here. It's all built, it's just all in the background at the moment, not turned active, but you'll essentially be able to dive into any one of these and have the ability to navigate around all the different traits that come with this. At the moment, you can see everything's still hidden, all the properties still hidden. However, it is all there, I assure you all, and it gets quite interesting at that level once you go a bit further. So yeah, anything you'd like me to unpack from that little dialogue?
Yes, of course, and just like you say that actually distributing the real whiskey product itself is not difficult, right, for you. And so how does that work? What's the utilities for your NFT collection holders? That what can they get, and about how much is the price, and compared to just directly buying a bottle of whiskey and versus purchasing through Metaverse merchants? What's the difference between that? Thank you.
Yeah, so a merchant themselves, we will be putting to the market on the 12th at 0.2 ETH. So we're estimating that to be around about 620 Matic. Obviously, that can change a little bit. We are on the Polygon chain. So the quickest way to mint a merchant will be through using your wallet with an allocation of Matic. We are, however, working with CrossMint, so you can pay in ETH, you can pay in USDC, or you could even just pay in fiat if you wish to. That's entirely possible as well. CrossMint makes that available. So with the merchants, 0.2 ETH, that is definitely a little bit more expensive than your average bottle of whiskey. But this comes back to that real world asset allocation. So again, we're trying to position the merchant as a distillery. It's definitely not that you receive one bottle of whiskey. In fact, from the Genesis mint, we've aimed to ensure that people could have a case of whiskey. So between 11 and 12 bottles of whiskey that you could produce almost immediately if you wanted to, within the first couple of weeks. We wouldn't recommend that. It'd still be new make spirit. We can circle back on that in a second. But we've designed the project so it lasts actually a full 30 years. The roadmap extends out for an extensive period of time, and that's mostly because, if you think of whiskey, the longer it matures, the more expensive it gets, the more rare it gets, the more valuable it gets. And again, to my comment about linking whiskey back to NFTs and ensuring that the NFT project just continues to appreciate in value, we want to encourage as much as possible that people hold on to a lot of their liquid and mature, so that firstly they can have the enormous returns and value. One of your earlier questions, I don't think I managed to loop back to, why whiskey once again. If you look at the Frank Knight report, which is one of the more respectable reports on investment industries. When it comes to things like rare cars, artwork, all of these elements that aren't necessarily considered traditional investments, they've got a benchmark. And whiskey eclipses that. In fact, I think we published, bear with me 1 second, I might even be able to show you this visually. It wasn't that long ago that we put it out. It's 370% increase per decade for, here it is here. I wonder if I can get this large enough for you.
Mm-hmm.
So this is from the Frank Knight report. So you might not be able to see it, but on the far right here, it's just got like rare art. It's increased to, I think it's 91% there in terms of value over a period of time. Cars, automobiles, like, really, rare releases that don't exist, things like those Shelbys that you see in Fast and Furious and so forth, doing incredibly well, 185%. But if you look over on the right here, the one that just eclipses everything, even more than your diamonds and your jewelry and wine is your whiskey, and it is killing at 373%. It is the stalwart of the entire set or collection when it comes to those luxury investments.
Mm-hmm. Wow, this is definitely marvelous. And so if people are interested getting and being part of it, is that the only opportunity that they have to go through first minting the NFTs, right? And it will be actually just like you say, right? It's coming soon. So what's the plan after minting it? Will people immediately be able to claim to have their whiskey bottles to be delivered, or do I need to wait for a while until it's matured and ready to ship worldwide?
Yeah, so look, it was important for us that staying true to the Web3 ethos, that we weren't manipulating or controlling people. So we've given everybody the full ability to exit straight away if they want to exit straight away.
Mm-hmm.
We have set aside, I think it's just over 2 weeks to run people through. People that mint. We want to make sure there's a little bit of education there for them to understand what they're doing when they're creating their virtual recipes. Make sure that everybody understands that if they're blending this particular type of cask with this particular type of cask, they might have a really nice outcome. But if they blend this one and this one together, perhaps that's not the most ideal combination. So yeah, we've wanted to set aside just a couple of weeks there to take people through just ensure that they know and understand that the choices that they're making are permanent, because it's not a virtual game. They're blending in the background real world physical assets. But yes, if they wanted to exit, that is their choice. Again, coming back to that point about it being new make spirit, we have acquired 20,000 litres of this new make spirit through Whiskey and Wealth from the Craft Irish Whiskey Co. I'm not sure if anyone is very familiar with this group, but so in 2022 they had the in 2022 they had the world's best whiskey award for okay, let me pull this up for you 1 second. It's called the Devil's Keep. I should know this off by heart by now. Nope, I do not. There you go. So yeah, in 2022, their whiskey called the Devil's Keep broke a number of records in itself, in the sense that it was the most expensive inaugural release of any whiskey bottle. The Devil's Keep sold for $60,000 at a single bottle, $60,000. And it was awarded the best whiskey of 2023 in that sort of premium or ultra premium, in fact, I think is the range of whiskies. This is one over here in 2023. The 2022 is the one that holds the awards. The last year's award for best whiskey went to this one down here called the Don. May not be actually up on their site yet, may not be available just yet if we come to future releases. The Don holds a really interesting place here in the sense that, again, low run, 4,000 bottles only. But the distinguishing thing about this whiskey is it's only 6 years old. They entered it into a blind tasting, so against whiskies that could be 30 years old in their own right. And it was what do they call it? A no age statement category. And yeah, came out with best whiskey for last year with a 6-year-old whiskey. Absolutely incredible. The biggest recognition for Craft Irish Whiskey Co, however, is that they currently own the world record for the most expensive whiskey bottle ever sold. So $2.8 million. It's one of their Emerald Isle sets. This whiskey was the world record holder before the McLaren one that I was talking to you about earlier, with the artwork that sold for 2.7. I think I mentioned at that time as well, it was only there for a very short period of time because one of the other bottles from the Emerald Isle set then eclipsed it at 2.8. So again, they've held that record now, I think 3 times. I might have to fact check myself on that, but at the very least, twice world record holder for the most expensive bottle of whiskey.
Wow, that is certainly marvelous. Yeah, the most expensive whiskey. Definitely today's conversation, expand our views, right? I believe for a lot of our audience right here, because we a lot of us probably didn't really dig into the world of whiskey, and also a lot of information about that. And thank you so much, Grant, for sharing so many things with us. And so how do you find people who understand the value of whiskeys, and also and beyond that, who also understand the value of whiskey in the real world assets track over here? Because certainly this is a compared to other like profile picture NFTs or other type of Web3 assets, right? Blockchain assets, right? This is probably a more smaller group, right? So how do you find your potential buyers, and how do you attract them, and how do you retain them? Thank you.
So look, it comes back to probably, as I mentioned earlier, there's sort of like 3 subsets of people that we're really interested in engaging at this level for the project. One of those is definitely the whiskey collector. So probably more of a traditional whiskey collector that we're trying to educate and bring into Web3. We're probably not going to find them so much in the Twitter NFT feeds. So we are doing our own sort of real world marketing and bringing in some people that really, I guess, are excited by the fact that there's decades they've been collecting whiskey, and again, this will be the first time that they'll have the chance to actually influence how it's created. So there's a lot of excitement there. Part of the reason why we made sure we had cross mint in place was so that this group of people could I guess, mint their NFTs without having to worry so much about having their wallets all configured, that if they wanted to, they could buy through fiat, and cross mint would manage their wallets in the background. That's all abstracted. So it is making the Web3 world accessible to that more traditional market. That's happening in the background. It's it's nice to have. We also wanted to make sure that we were talking to the NFT enthusiasts and natives. We do believe that there is 5 areas of technology that we've extended. So if anyone's familiar with OneMint, OneMint is the primary technology partner that we have involved. Their dynamic trait marketplace was quite revolutionary, built mostly for the gaming sector. So if you can imagine the dynamic traits for NFTs in the gaming sector was like having a sword that had X amount of power, and then you would upgrade it, and you had another sword, or the same sword, but had different capabilities. One Mint made that possible. They were one of the first to do it. It was incredible. There's other ways of achieving that now. Different ERC technology, but a lot about this. And so we work with them to extend technology in 5 different areas. We have a number of world firsts that have associated with it. We think that alone is interesting to NFT collectors. The art that I showed you a little bit earlier before as well, there's some evolving aspects to that we think are very, very unique, that we're excited to take it to the NFT community and see how much they really appreciate it. And the first set of first or third, coming to them third, I mentioned them first, was just people that enjoy drinking. And you ever imagine cracking a bottle of whiskey that you paid $2.8 million for? Like, I don't think that whiskey will ever get drank,
Right.
But with the Craft Irish Whiskey Co., as I said, we have that liquid. You're getting onboarded into the project. Again, sure, it's worth more than a bottle of whiskey. Certainly worth less than 12 bottles of whiskey, even if you consider your standard normal run of whiskey that you'd find on the corner store. That's definitely not what we have. And if you hold this, again, if we're looking at collabs, mentioned that the Don released at 6 years. I mentioned that the Devil's Keep released at the 30-year mark. We've got a number of collabs that are running out. And if you're producing whiskies that are worth $1,000 each, or whiskies that are worth $60,000 each, for the collectors, they're going to love this. For me, I'm going to be most excited by getting an invite to somebody's, wedding, or like maybe their daughter's wedding, or they're celebrating their 50th or something in, say, 20 years' time, and they've got a bottle of whiskey that is, potentially worth $20,000-$30,000. They're going to open up there, and they've managed to do that because they set aside 6 for the project. Be the most exciting outcome for me.
Nice. Thank you so much, Brian, for sharing your vision with us. This is certainly your alley front line, right? You're the frontier of RWA, especially combining with whiskey, and also going to launching it. And how about after launching this collection? Are there any upcoming plans post mint? Thank you.
Yeah. Well, indeed, I guess you mentioned that there is a 30-year roadmap. We obviously haven't mapped out every month that we look for and timing whiskey releases. There will be events happening there. We already have an event marked up with our suppliers there for 6 years' time. I don't know any other NFT project that would be able to claim that, but that's in place. There's it won't be just the Metaverse Merchants project that is, I guess, working towards that larger aspiration and larger goal there with the whiskey crafting. So there'll be a number of those throughout the lifetime of this project. There's obviously going to be several real-world tastings that we carry out around. We've already run one. More for promotional purposes, but we want to make sure we get that value to the members as well. And beyond that, probably circling back to the education as well. If you're not so interested in understanding how whiskey is made or produced, then that might not be as much value to you. You can just hold your NFT and be assured that it increases in value alongside its whiskey. But we do have big plans to ensure that we've got some master blenders involved with the project, and constantly sharing knowledge and sharing information about how you can craft and manage your allocation of whiskey to, the absolute possible premium position through their knowledge. So that itself is quite invaluable.
That is just very nice. Wow. Thank you so much, Graham, for sharing all the information with us. And before we wrap up the session, do you have any additional information that you'd like to share with our audience so far? Let me check over here about the numbers, because I see that we have audience that keep growing over here, and definitely people are curious, right? I see that people keep asking questions regarding, so this is something that they probably ever seen for the first time, right? Okay, obviously we all know whiskey, right? But whiskey and then combining Web3 technology and real world assets is something quite new for many of our audience. And so far I see that we got 1,800 live views over here. Would you like to share any additional information that we haven't covered yet to our audience over here? Thank you.
Yeah, sure. Well, I mean, I can't quite see those questions. So if there are any questions there that catch your attention, feel free to shout those out. Otherwise, what I would say is that, again, we have that 30-year roadmap. We've come to the market aware that we're sort of an unknown team, but we have some great partnerships. One of those partnerships is a group called Cora. Now, Cora's mission is to rid the NFT world of rugs. So they're an insurance group that do a big deep dive into the validity of projects, the validity of the teams, and their product is essentially this rug-proof certification. So look, we've partnered with them. We're one of the pilot projects that they have being rolled out. They actually were very, very eager to work with us because they saw the value of the real world assets, and they saw what we're doing, and they could just around for a long time. So been very generous, and they've backed about $120,000 worth of underwriting that will cover all of the NFTs, which means that if you invest in the Metaverse merchants, you'll have, not only does the project have the rug-proof certification, but your NFT will be insured, which means that if it is lost or stolen from, unfortunately, if you hand your keys to somebody in a really silly scenario, probably not covered. But if there is a hack or anything that happens outside of your control, it's covered, it's insured, so you'd be able to receive your money back. And an incredible partner to have involved with the project. So yeah, take a look at Cora.io, so Cora.io. They're embedded into the website, embedded into the Twitter feeds.
That is just very nice, for sharing all the information with us. Thank you so much, Brent, because definitely, just like you say, right, this is quite a great educational session that you could teach our audience over here to learn more about RWA and learn more about Metaverse merchants. And best luck with the launching, right? It's coming soon, and we're definitely looking forward to seeing the growth of your project, and also seeing the growth for more people really understanding the concept of RWA and adapt that, and also owning a piece of it, right, as their part of their assets. And thank you, and feel free to click on leave a meeting over here. I will share a screenshot because how about let me share it right now, because I see that actually our session was being featured on the front page of Binance site. So which means that our audience can just directly go to Binance.com and find the live session. Then they will see our banner. It's up over here on the top of the front page, and it's very convenient for them to just click on that, and then they could enter our live streaming session. And I've also do replace, since that we have more and more audience, and obviously they're new to our session, so I will do replace for friends who missed the previous streaming part, and then Yeah, so friends, no worries that you are going to get a full picture of what exactly that we have been talking about, and also what exactly Metaverse merchants that they are selling. And so lots of things and lots of information, like fundamental knowledge of art of it, and also the top whiskeys, right, in the world. Right? So definitely stay here, everyone. And once again, thank you so much, Grant, for joining us today. That we wish you a great rest of the day. Thank you.
Absolute pleasure. Look, thank you for having us on Moonlight. And yeah, encourage everyone, feel free to reach out if any more questions that you have. Best place to be, find us in Discord. And in fact, if you are impressed by the project, encourage you to jump into Discord now. We do have a free mint coming, so a little bit of alpha for you there. And we'll be looking after the people that are supporting us first. So right from the Discord, get involved with that free mint. You won't regret it.
Free mint is definitely, yeah, always the best. Thank you so much, Graham, for sharing the information with us.
Thank you again.
Thank you. Wow, that is just very nice. And friends, we are going to close our live session, but no worries. We're going to come back and then we will do replays. So stay here, stay tuned, and then we will present more information, yeah, on Metaverse merchants and present by Grant. Thank you. I'm going to close our live session over here. Have a great rest of the day. See you next time. Bye. Okie dokie, friends. I'm going to go over to our replays over here. Let me see. I'm also going to say bye to friends who are watching us across different social media platforms, because yeah, with your continued support, right, we are here, yes, to also provide more educational information to our audience. So let's play our ending video over here. Okie dokie, say bye to friends who are watching us on our Twitter live. Thank you so much, everyone. And also like to say bye to friends who are watching us on YouTube. And then we will come back over here.